podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Coming up, the Free Jacks championship run is officially over. The WER has a major fault line down the middle of the table. The World Series for the Sevens is wrapped up in Bordeaux, and we've got grassroots for you as well. Thanks for joining us. This is the Maul Street Journal. Hello, and welcome to the Maul Street Journal, the podcast that brings you all the latest news and reviews for all things American rugby. We are part of the Global Gainline Network and can be found on all your usual platforms, including YouTube, Spotify, and iTunes. So if you haven't already, give us a like or subscribe, tell a couple of friends about us, and we just always appreciate your support. Either way, this is episode 28, not counting a few bonus episodes. I'm your host for today, David Lawrence. I'm here once again with Kolya. Kolya, are you officially on break, or do your school duties kind of extend into the summer?
I am on break, but I have a conference next week in Dallas.
What's the mood in San Antonio after the Spurs dropped these first couple of games?
It was bad until the last game, and now it's back to being crazy.
Good.
Like
we will be watching tonight.
I have a great story from Game 6 of the conference finals.
Really?
So I wasn't there, but I had to pick up a guy who was coming in from Connecticut who was doing a train ride around the United States. And he came into San Antonio about 10 o'clock and needed me to pick him up to bring him where he was going to stay.
Okay.
Well, unfortunately for him, 10 o'clock is right when the Spurs won Game 6 of the conference finals. And the Amtrak station is right next to the Alamo Dome.
Yep.
Which is right next to where the people go honking when Spurs win. So I was half a mile away from him. I could see him for an hour as I'm trying to get off the interstate.
Oh man. Well, I think if the finals get to Game 6, that's going to coincide with some World Cup stuff too. So
yes.
New York is not. I never want to go to New York, but definitely not this month.
Yeah.
Okay, our tradition is to start with some news, but I came up completely empty. I found nothing for news. Did you come up with anything?
I have quite a bit, actually.
I was going to save the grassroots for the end, but do you have regular news?
Yes.
Great.
Okay, so first off, some Sevens news. We'll talk more about Sevens as this podcast goes further, but two of our women's Eagles were shortlisted for the end of season awards. For Rookie of the Year, Tana Whiffley, and for Player of the Year, Ariana Ramsey.
Oh.
Neither of them won, but both were in the shortlist for the top three.
Did Ariana Ramsey win that last year, or was it Rookie of the Year?
I think she won Rookie of the Year last year.
I think so. I'm kind of surprised Kalen Thomas wasn't in the mix this time, but
yes.
Yeah, that's right. They did those awards right after the conclusion of the Bordeaux event, right?
Yes.
I'm guessing none of our men were on the short list.
No.
Though Lucas Lecamp.
Well, speaking of Lucas Lecamp, one of the big things in the last couple of weeks was Ultimate Sevens got recognition from World Rugby, and in their press release, they mentioned that they had tied down Lucas Lecamp to being part of this competition.
Really?
Have you heard anything about this?
This is literally the first time I've heard those words in that order.
Okay, so apparently Ultimate Sevens is going to do kind of like a PR Sevens type thing, but worldwide. So they've got a set of 8 clubs and it's going to start in September. They're going to start in England with the championship being held at Brentford Community Stadium. After that, their plan is to expand to Europe and have competitions throughout Europe. And then after that, after a couple years of that, spread to having a global competition. So Club
Oh,
Sevens.
very
And
interesting.
LeCamp got named as part of that.
That's good news for him. The do you know if Rugby Town Sevens is coming back? Like what? It was fun for a little while and then it just disappeared.
I haven't heard much about it.
Hmm. What else you got? Any other news?
Yes, both are a little bit smaller.
Okay.
So Rugby Town Sevens is going to be August 21st
Oh, good.
in
Okay.
Glendale. Okay. But some smaller stuff. World Rugby put a social media post up last week about the Stars of Tomorrow, and Dom Bisag got mentioned.
Nice.
So seeing an eagle up there as one of World Rugby's Stars of Tomorrow mentioned with several French and South African players is pretty nice.
Wow. That's great.
Yeah. And the other thing that was announced is that as part of MLR Championship Weekend, which we're getting closer to, there's going to be the Great American Scrum Championship
Really? What is
held
this?
held at the stadium. It's a bunch of groups of just forwards scrumming.
That sounds amazing.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. Let's see.
So is this going to be like a sort of a fun fan engagement thing in the parking lot, or is this going to be an on the field?
It's going to
We're
be
gonna
on the
determine a
field.
winner. Wow, I know a lot of people who would love that.
Yes. Okay, so the Great American Scrum Championship is a double elimination scrum competition held on site at championship weekend as part of the Fan Fest, an a first of its kind 8 versus 8 forward pack competition.
I love it. I wonder if it'll make it to the broadcast.
I hope so. I think if it does, I think this is something that For the Love of Rugby podcast mentioned as like something they wanted to see
Yeah, yeah.
is a
Also,
competition like this.
I have to say, if that's an event that happens before the match and we're trying to grow the game, that's an opportunity to literally sit there and explain what's happening in a scrum to brand
Yeah.
new fans before they see the final take place, so they will have more of a clue. That's pretty neat. That's a good
Yes.
thing.
Okay. So open to teams across the country, runs as a double elimination bracket under World Rugby laws with 7 divisions,
Wow.
no backs, no excuses, just 8 forwards in a scrum. Matches are decided in a best of 3 format,
They
but
really need to have a best cauliflower eel ear
there's
award at the end.
apparently a wild card. Each team gets to declare one money scrum per match, where every point scored is doubled. I kind of want to see this more than the championship game.
I know, me too. It also, though, sounds like we're already trying to slap a bunch of extra rules onto it just to make it more
Yes,
complicated and make people
yes,
scratch their heads.
yes, yes.
Classic. Anything else before we get into the games?
And that is it for me for news.
Nice. There's been some Super Rugby Americas stuff. They're getting down to the wire there, but I didn't do my homework well enough to talk about it here. I know the Capybaras are out. Sad face.
Hmm.
Um, Well, we do have lots to catch up on. Sorry to the listeners that we missed last week. This past weekend, the curtain officially came down on my Free Jacks 2026 campaign. We all kind of knew it was coming, but hope was alive at Fort Quincy until the start of the final quarter of play, I would say. Kolya, I imagine you watched this one. What were your thoughts on this match?
So this match was kind of what we all expected. New England continued to have issues with discipline, where while Chicago's depth ended up being the biggest tell between the two teams.
Yeah. They, I was noticing ahead of time they were going to be bringing a bunch of Eagles onto the onto the pitch, as substitutes, and we were just going to be bringing the Eagle, Kyle Sequeira. So
Yes.
slight imbalance.
Yes. Yeah. If I'm a Chicago fan, I'm getting slightly worried because they've been wobbling the last few weeks.
Yep.
And like I know for fitness purposes, they've been doing a bunch of chopping and changing,
Mm,
but that's not necessarily what you want to do right before a playoff run.
yeah. I mean, they looked really good. They some handling errors, some kind of loose play on their part, but especially like you said, like fitness kind of told the benches told a difference too. That was a bit rough. It was Paulo Balacana's first and only game for us this season. He was back. It was great to see him out there. They had him play for the full 80, getting their full money's worth, I guess. I don't know what happened, and not one Free Jacks fan I know knows where he went or what he was doing for the last whatever months.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why we couldn't have had him all season, but he didn't look like he'd lost a step, but might have even tried too hard to kind of make up for lost time, but it was good to see him out there.
Yes,
Uh,
that's what it looked like from the broadcast is they were trying too hard to get him the ball
yeah,
and kind of trying to force it to him, and Chicago was focusing on that.
yeah. They even did a whole video montage about his return before the broadcast and stuff, and all I could think was, this is a bad sign. You can't turn around a season with one player. But it was nice to see him though. My personal highlight, I don't know if you saw it, getting beaned by Joel Hodgson. He kicked to touch and he found the side of my head as well. It's
Ooh,
on the ESPN broadcast, so I guess I finally have a highlight reel.
yes,
That hurt, man. Really hurt. Not the first time I've gotten pegged by a ball, ricocheting off the field there
yes.
too. Um, Anyway, the day before that, DC what they had to do to keep their hopes alive, beating a disappointing Anthem 29-21. Kolya, DC scored 10 points in the final 7 minutes to steal this one. Was that grit and tenacity from Old Glory, or was Anthem just kind of running out of gas?
To me, that looked like Anthem running out of gas.
Yeah.
Yeah, Old Glory. We've talked about it all season. They're a good team. They've played Chicago the best
Yeah.
of the teams, which is going to set up an exciting first round matchup in the playoffs. But they're a team that seems to play down to their competition, and
Yeah.
that's what it looked like against Anthem.
I guess if
Again,
you're a DC
I'm
fan, you're
yes,
happy that they have that extra gear they can switch into late in a game like that, but I would not be feeling confident.
and what I was particularly worried about was the or once again, as we've seen this whole second half of the season, teams have kind of figured out Luke Carty,
Mm.
and with him looking like probably our 10 of the future, that's worrying.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't shock me if for our match on July 4th we're seeing Hilsenbeck with the Haas instead of Carty with the Haas.
DeHaas came off the bench this weekend too. I
Yes.
think that's part
So
part of what
so
you were
did
saying with the
Hilsenbeck.
chopping and changing.
So
Yeah,
did
I think that.
Hilsenbeck.
Yeah, I think that's part of what you were saying with the chopping and changing. I think
Yes.
it's minutes management.
Mhm.
DC started pretty strong. Ben Bonasso, he got a sweet try before 3 minutes had even gone by, but not too many highlights for them after that.
Yes.
Well, to wrap up the regular season, Seattle took down the California Legion 33 to 19. It was a pretty convincing win, though Gonzalo Bertrano, he scored first. That guy is an absolute firecracker. Any thoughts on this match?
Not as much. It was an enjoyable match. Davy Kutzer is doing quite well for the Seawolves as the season's gone on. He's kind of settled in.
Yeah, good
He
point.
wasn't great in the beginning of the season, but they're like, I know it was being billed as kind of the decider because the winner would host the next round, but we have the exact same match next or in the first round.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer. In fact, I was just about to get to that. But before I do, the by the way, only one penalty kick this weekend. It seems like taking three when they're on offer just isn't a thing in the MLR. I don't have any stats to prove it. Have you noticed that?
Yes, and that was, and the stats thing is something I was going to bring up to everyone. The MLR stats page seems to have died.
Yes, it's
It
I couldn't
just
find it.
doesn't exist.
In a way, I think it's because they're leaning on James Dealey to do his thing, but they haven't said anything about it.
Yeah, yeah. They're also just kind of focusing on their app.
Uh, I see.
So you can get a bunch of stats for each game through the app. Like, for example, in that Seattle versus Legion match, Seattle outkicked the Legion by 12 kicks in 100 meters.
Well,
Anthem out carried Seattle by a lot, but couldn't do anything with it.
sometimes I think stats are the most meaningless in rugby out of any
Yes,
sport.
yes. Except one of the biggest stat that seems to tell is number of lineouts for MLR.
Hmm,
Lineouts one seems to be a very big key to who wins.
interesting. Well, that explains our season.
Yeah.
Well, as I said, that wrapped up the regular season in Major League Rugby, and as you already referenced, it sets up semi-disappointingly an exact rematch from this past weekend with California Legion facing Seattle at the Starfire. Kolya, if you're the Legion coach, how do you convince your players things will be different this week after such a big loss?
They can't do it again. Like
Lightning doesn't strike twice.
it's hard to do it. It's hard to do it again. And like Seattle was really up for this game. Legion didn't seem as up for it.
Yeah, they've had weird sort of attitude problems this year.
Yes, yes, they have, which I think we all called before the season started.
Yeah, I think the schizophrenic nature of not really having a home and becoming a nomadic team after having such a history, like, ugh, it must be absolutely bizarre.
Mhm.
Uh, at first, I was writing for some reason Chicago faced DC on a Monday night, but that just caused me to look it up and see why that is. And sure enough, this whole weekend, SeatGeek Stadium is booked for the Lyrical Lemonade Summer Smash Music Festival, which I assume you're going to be attending.
No.
um, By the way, the scheduling snafu there, it made me immediately think, oh, so the MLR planners have been pairing up with URC organizers. It must be. By the way, Kolya, are the Hounds going to lose a game this season? They're on pace for an undefeated year, and they've got it lined up nicely. They only have to win this one game, and then they're at home for a final.
So, as I mentioned, Old Glory's given them the best shot
Mm,
all season. Both matches have been pretty close. I would suspect that Chicago's going to win it all, just based on depth and just having outclassed the rest of the league by a lot. But what I am going to say is and this is less on Chicago and more on these four teams that have made the playoffs. These are the four most entertaining teams to watch from a rugby perspective. And as the seasons come on, especially the last 3 to 4 weeks, MLR has actually been quite entertaining.
Yeah,
Like the first few weeks of the season, there was a bunch of rust. We talked about it. There was no real preseason for any team.
right.
But as it's gone on, it would be or watching these MLR matches the last few weeks, with a couple of exceptions, you could see these teams being, or if you change the names of the teams and just showed it to a rugby fan, it could be like bottom of the Prem, middle of the URC
Yeah,
type stuff.
I think that's true. I've, my dream matchup would be to see either MLR teams play NPC teams or maybe Curry Cup teams too. I think NPC teams would probably take that competition. I think Curry Cup teams would too, but I think some MLR teams would win a few, and they'd probably be some exciting matches too.
Mhm. Yeah. I really want to see MLR versus Super Rugby Americas,
Yes, that's
just
such a
to see
natural
how
thing
those
too. It's
two
got to
leagues,
be.
yeah, just to see how those two leagues fit.
I think those two leagues don't like each other. I think there's some
Yes.
animosity between the organizations, unfortunately.
Yes, and I think part of that is because of the American Raptors.
Yes, I think so too. By the way, Chicago, we talked before the season, and we, strongly agreed that Chicago had won the offseason. They recruited the best. Everyone expected them to be even better than they were last year in the first place. So it seemed like all arrows were pointing up, and now here they are undefeated. Is this the beginning of a dynasty? Are they taking over that Free Jacks mantle, or do you think they're going to fall apart, right after the season ends?
Well, that depends on what MLR decides to do after the season ends.
That's true. I guess the only
Because,
guarantee is that they'll change something.
yes, because if you allow Chicago to do what they did this past offseason, and they have half the success with it they did last or this past offseason, they are going to create a dynasty.
Yeah, which I don't
Like,
know. Maybe
like
that's good for the league.
I, it didn't hurt when New England did it.
Yeah, it's funny the feeling the animosity from all other fans towards Free Jacks fans over that time made me just feel like, oh, this league is taking root because like people are actually angry about these things and
Yes.
people are really disliking franchises, which is just the sign that it's really sort of sinking in, I think.
Mhm.
So I'd be happy to hate Chicago for the next 3 years. That'd be great.
Mhm.
Um, I do want to just take a minute to remind all of you if you're enjoying the show, please do us a favor, like and subscribe to all the usual good things. But most importantly, tell a friend or two. We are part of the Global Game Line Network and have rugby covered for all corners of the globe. So check out the YouTube channel, find a few shows you like, and thanks as always for your support. Well, I finally tracked down the WER standings, thanks to YSC, this Instagram account. Um, Seeing as I swear they haven't updated the actual website in the 2 weeks since we last complained about it.
Mhm.
Either way, it's turned into the haves and the have-nots with three 4-1 teams and three 1-4 teams, including my Boston Banshees, who lost at home this
Oh,
weekend a few hours after my Free Jacks
well,
did.
yeah.
It was not the best day to be at Fort Quincy. Kolya, the Banshees, the Tempest, and the stupid New York team, they are the bottom feeders. Which of those teams do you see potentially making a run, getting out of that bottom spot?
Yeah, I'm sorry I lost you for a second.
Oh, sorry. I said Boston and the Tempest and New York are the bottom three teams. They're all one and
Yes,
four right
yes.
now. Which of those teams do you think has the best chance to come out of there and make a run?
Boston.
I want to say that, but I couldn't tell if it's just my homerism. I want Chicago to be better than they are.
Same. Same, but they from from the little I've watched, they just seem outclassed.
Yeah. And again, what has your success rate been trying to watch these matches?
if I know it's on, pretty good, but
Yeah.
I still have no idea how to watch a replay.
No, I have not found one. It's so annoying too because it felt like such good news after the disaster with DAZN last year and everything. It felt like solved that problem, and we're kind of back where we already were. Great competition though, great to go in person, and they had I think I sent you a picture. They had Banshees merch at the Free Jacks game. They had a table set up ahead of time, and they had a shirt that just says "Ruck around and find out," which I thought was a pretty good one. I hadn't seen that one before. Also, they had the black Banshee shirt. When I got mine, they didn't actually offer black, and now I'm like, it almost caused me to buy a second one. Anyway, elsewhere in the world, the HSBC Sevens wrapped up its final of the year. It was an odd format, but an exciting final weekend. Our women were disappointed to come away without a podium appearance in Bordeaux, narrowly losing out to arch rivals Canada. That after coming in second the week before in Valladolid. It was great news for our men, however, as Lucas Lecomte, he got a superhero try in the corner with the clock in the red against Fiji. That score made the difference between another season in the second tier and coming up to the top tier. So real progress for the men. Kolya, what were your takeaways from Bordeaux?
So on the men's side, we got lucky. We
We had a
got
great weekend,
incredibly
though.
lucky. We we did pretty well. We got that quarterfinal, and boy, did we choke in that quarterfinal.
We were trying to give it away a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. And we were lucky that Fiji just wasn't on it this week.
It was a shocking ending, very exciting. I was out of my seat, but I have to admit, my immediate thought was, "Oh, so going back up to the top level is that a good thing? Are we going to be ready for that? Or are we just going to start a yo-yo?"
Well, I think what's good, or or on a good thing, it's going to give the men more exposure, and hopefully with things like Ultimate Sevens and things like that,
Mm,
more more experience will make them a better team. But on the negative side, being able to pull this out of a hat is going to tell USA Rugby that they're doing the right thing.
mm, good point. We do have, it looks like going forward, there's going to be a USA stop on the sevens circuit for that top tier. So it'll be nice to have our men and women participating in that. That could grow the game. That could create some buzz around the country, you think?
Yeah, yeah. More the more sevens we can get out there, the more it'll catch on, because that one is the easier one to explain to the casual fan.
For sure. It's the gateway rugby. It was a great weekend.
Yes.
I have to admit, of course I root for the USA, and of course it was a remarkable ending to get brought back up to the top tier. But I didn't enjoy seeing the faces of the Kenyan players who were
No.
all watching in the stand. That was crushing. And the Kenya corner or whatever they call it. Oh, that was rough.
Yeah. Yeah. On the women's side, we looked pretty good until we didn't.
I think we ran out of gas. I think there was,
That did look like it.
yeah. So this was
We
the first time all season, I think, when it was two weekends back to back, and people like Sammy Sullivan were playing the whole game, every game. Like they
Yeah.
must be out.
Yeah, it the substitutions or lack thereof were strange from us. It seemed.
Yeah, a little surprising. The I guess our peak was in Spain the week before, which is kind of too bad. You always want to end on the highest note, but getting that second place was huge. That was a great leg of
Yeah.
the tournament. Um, I
and and
noticed
and, and
out of
ending the
the
championship tied for third on
well,
points.
having the end of the regular season be one thing, and then this extra added on championship round. It's so you kind of and have you have two standings at the end of the year. it's the whole thing was really weird. I hope they
Yeah.
kind of go
Yes.
back. In Spain the week before, I'm not positive the pool of commentators must have been, I think, eight of them that they were, rotating in and out as they usually do. Gareth Reese didn't know how to pronounce the name of the city they were in. He said, "Here we are in Valladolid." I'm like, You're there. You didn't hear anyone say it. No, there was no production meeting. Nobody said, by the way, maybe we want to say the name of the city right." Like it was shocking to me. At least he's Canadian. I was afraid. I was like, oh, great, it's the
Yeah.
American guy, but he's not.
Mhm.
Okay. We are gonna wrap up a pretty quick one this week, but before we go, Kolya, you've got some grassroots for us, I think.
So there are a few grassroots things going on.
Love it.
First off, this weekend is the Great Northwest Challenge in Montana
Ooh.
from June 12th to June 14th.
Is that 15s?
No, that is sevens. That is
Okay.
sevens.
Wow.
And it acts as a combine and kind of like college recruitment drive.
Oh, wow. Big Sky Country Rugby.
Yeah. But another thing, I I mentioned this a while back. I mentioned this a while back that the or that USA Rugby with its moonshot branding stuff
Yep.
had come up with a competition to create a mission badge for the coming season.
Okay.
Well, my 8-year-old daughter entered and she won.
No way. What does that mean?
So they're going to send her a jersey, and they said something about free tickets to an Eagles match.
Wow. Did she have to, was it just a random draw or did she have to like write
It
something
it
or?
was a competition. Yeah,
Oh,
it was a like art competition.
that's so cool.
Yeah,
Will you be able to share a photo of the winning item for with our socials?
I should be able to.
Oh, that's so cool. So very much to be determined what this Eagles match might possibly be.
Yes, yes, yes.
We have some interesting matches this summer.
Yep.
Oh,
With
that's very
with
cool.
that Argentina 15 just getting announced as well.
Yeah, that's I'm really excited for that one. That seems like right about a level where it should be close and you know, we'll really see something from us. Okay, any final thoughts before we call a full lid?
As I mentioned, this MLR season has gotten to where the teams are playing entertaining rugby.
Yeah.
And if you're someone who follows us just because we talk about the Eagles, talk about sevens, etc., I would say watch these playoff matches because these are the four most entertaining teams.
Yeah, I totally agree. I watched all of the DC game this weekend and really kind of enjoyed. Like I said, I'm like I already complained that there weren't too many highlights, but I really sat through the whole thing and enjoyed all of it. And last offseason, it felt like MLR might be dead. It was a really, really bad sinking feeling, and the fact that these six teams have looked pretty good. My team was starting to come on a little bit. Anthem showed some flashes they hadn't in the previous couple of years. And like you said, these four teams that we've got left are gonna that's gonna be some entertaining rugby for the next couple of weekends. And I think considering last off season, I think this is as good as MLR could have come out of this.
I I absolutely agree.
I kind of wish I was going to be in Chicago. It's a nice stadium, and it's probably going to be an entertaining day. I kind of hope it's Seattle, but Seattle haven't been traveling that well. Anyway, um, okay, Kolya, thank you so much as always. Always appreciate your thoughts and your insights. Congratulations to your daughter. That is the
Yes,
coolest.
yes.
And to all our viewers and listeners, thank you so much for your support. Cheers, and talk to you all soon.